Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about our process and what we do or how we approach when your form or your technique starts to break down. More specifically, we're going to cover some ballistics. Does that sound about right? I know we get this question a lot, and I think it's probably on the top of most people's minds. So where do we start?
Screaming.
First
scream a lot.
Berate and scream.
It's very productive. So I interact with people a good bit on Instagram, which I really enjoy doing and helping people breaking down form, things like that.
And it's at Roger P. Parks.
That's not it at all. That's not my middle name.
All right, I'll put it on the bottom there.
It's an M.
That's right.
For mother.
Roger Parks.
So the process though is the same, whatever it is, whether it's a swing, a clean, a snatch, even really whether it's even a press, a squat, a push press. The thing I look at first and foremost is going to be timing. Timing is the single most important thing you have when you are assessing things. What is supposed to happen and when is it supposed to happen? And then you ask some simple questions. Is it happening?
Yeah.
So, it seems it's a very simple process. It takes a long time to make it this simple. Where you can kind of step back away from, my elbow's supposed to be at this degree and my feet need to be here. That's all a bunch of nonsense some of the time. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. And if all you're done is stuck with checking boxes for, if the extent of your knowledge of the swing is how to do the swing correctly, and some very bad YouTube or Instagram videos on how the swing looks wrong, and you're gonna tell me do a deadlift or whatever, which sometimes is the answer, but you're not going to progress very far. Yeah. So, first and foremost, you need to really understand what is supposed to happen in each of these phases and each of these skills, and that's where our one-on-one videos come in. If you're not sure, when we teach these, we try to do a good job of saying this needs to happen, then that needs to happen, then this needs to happen, et cetera, et cetera. But back to the topic, something goes wrong and we'll use the example of a swing. So we'll do a one-arm swing and we'll kind of go through, what we look at, but the first thing we're always gonna look at is timing. So kind of go ahead and get it at 45 and we're gonna pretend that you got, actually let's bring your shoulder that way. There we go, yeah. So let's do one arm. One arm's a little trickier. So I'm going to look at his general form, but I'm looking at each of these positions. I'm not worried. I do want to know maybe how far the knee is in front of the toe. That's a little bit relevant. I want to know the level of the hip, the level of the shoulder, but I'm not doing too much of that yet. I'm just looking to see what's happening and when. So the first thing I'm going to look at, stand up. Where's that arm? If that arm is not connected to his body, that means it's moved ahead. Okay, so go back in the same position and move ahead with your arm and pause. So right about there. Okay, so if I see this, okay, if there's incomplete movement of the knee and there's incomplete movement of the hip, then this kettlebell is already here. Either A, he is just ridiculously strong with his groin area, or B, which is a lot more likely, is he has pulled the kettlebell. He's used his arm and his back to lift the kettlebell ahead of his legs. So the first thing, go ahead and relax for a sec. The first thing that I know is if we're evaluating ballistics, they need to be properly powered. Well, if his arm is ahead of his body, that is not properly powered. What we want is the legs to move the torso, which then moves the arm. So first we need these to finish. So what I'm looking for is this. I want to see boom, boom, boom. Is this in a straightish line? If it's a little bit off, no big deal. I want you to watch something. Let's see if we can see this. So here's my angle. So go ahead and get your arm to body. So my angle's here because this is where the bell is realistically going to be. I can pull it back here, but that's not on my body. My chest, if you look at my width, I'm wider than he is here. So my arm is going to come off of my body a little bit more than his. So don't worry too much about it being completely stuck here. See, this is a pretty unnatural position for me. So I'm here, this is comfortable. I'm actually propelling the bell with my body, no problem. So the first thing I'm looking for, again, is this face. Then I want to know, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens at the top. Okay. So do I have the float? Am I at the appropriate level? What's going on with this line? Is he leaning back? Okay. Is he tall? Is he hunching forward? What's going on here? And if he's finishing in the right spot, I'm not too worried about it. There may still be an issue, but this is not the part of his form that I'm going to address because everything is checked off, all of the boxes. The next thing I'm going to see, and this is the single biggest place I start fixing things, is go ahead and bring the arm back down to the body. So do it properly. Do it properly. So back up so people can really see. This is in contact with his body here. Okay, don't let me pull this away. That's in contact here. Then he's going to come back into his backswing. Now he can go down here because that bell is connected to his body via the arm. What I will often see, go ahead and stand up, is this where he's already breaking. So stop here. So if we're looking at a bell, this is not supported. Okay, he's got nothing here to support him other than his arm, and even a 24 kilo kettlebell, which is not really heavy for him, is a lot of weight screaming back at him. So there's all of this space between here and here where something can go wrong. This arm can come crashing down, and you'll often get the leg coming out, or you'll get some awkward shifting. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that bell is supported. The bell is supported by the body. Remember, with your kettlebell, with the mass that's stamped on the side, 24 kilo kettlebell is not just a 24 kilo kettlebell. As soon as you start to look at the actual force production, again, it's mass times velocity. So you not only have the mass of the bell, but you've got all of that velocity is just speed and direction. So you've got all of that velocity, which makes 24 kilos a lot heavier. And suddenly, when it's coming from this height, and what are you, 6 foot, 6'1"? Mm-hmm. So it's coming from pretty high. Now we're getting a lot of velocity down that way. That 24 kilo kettlebell gets pretty big. If it's not supported by his body, there's a lot that can go wrong. So the basic idea is with just going through the simple checklist of what needs to happen and when, I'm knocking all of these things off. So if I got a question about banging the wrist in the snatch, well, that happens way at the end of the snatch, but I don't care. What I need to know, what happened? Technical difficulties.
We might edit this out. We might not.
You shouldn't.
But what we need to have happen is clips of my
Janet Jackson moment.
Okay. Well.
Anyway.
No comment.
So. But I don't care about what's happening up here because what started down there was wrong. So if I'm going through and I'm in this position here, so this is the difference between a swing and a clean and a snatch. When you stand up with your swing, your arm's basically going to be pointing straight down. If you're doing a clean or a snatch, it's going to be off. So go ahead and turn this way so they can see. There's going to be a little bend in the arm here because you're already starting to pull that kettlebell back towards you before it's even coming out of before it's even coming back through your leg. So a swing will probably be here. Your clean or your snatch is going to be a little bit more like that because you're keeping your arm glued to your body.
Right.
And if you wait until you're here to stand all the way up and then you try to pull back, it's too late. There's not enough room. So you've got to get that tight. So either way, whether I'm evaluating a leg collapsing in or out in the swing, or I'm evaluating banging of the wrist at the top of the snatch, if I'm not seeing this here on the way up or on the way down, and they both, when your hips move, let's make it simple. This is the position your arm should be in with your ballistics, either here or here, one or the other. If you don't see this position, the timing's off, forget about everything else, don't waste your time, fix this, and then everything else will go into place. Because once we know that the bell is properly powered, then we can get into the next phase, which is when do I do the pulls, when would I do the punch or the catch or whatever it is. But that's the basic process, is understanding all the steps, which again, we've got videos that'll help you understand what should happen when, and just seeing, am I checking the boxes? If you're not checking the boxes, don't start with box 3 before you checked box 1. So figure out the timing, check the boxes in order. Usually by the time we've cleared up 2 things, everything else just kind of goes away.
Got it. Yeah. So simple as put. If you're going with your hips until your hips finish, you're either here or here.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much. Keep this contact. Keep that contact right here. You know, and it's different for your body, just as Roger demonstrated. So if you have a question about whether you're having arm to body contact, you can obviously submit it to us and we'll happily take a quick look at it, or just tag us in your post and say arm to body, hashtag arm to body.
Is that a thing? Okay.
I don't know, it could be. We're not going to start it, but if you do.
Hashtags.
Yeah. So anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Right.
I think between this and the guides, I think people have what they need.
Great. Start there. And like always, if you have a question or you want to leave us a comment, place it below. And hey, why not subscribe to our channel? We put out a fresh video for you every week.
Sometimes
and some of them
too.
are informative. Yeah, and sometimes too. Holy.
What? No.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Well, anyways, tune in next week and see what's up. Stay strong.